Kilted.
Come on.
All right. That might be one of my favorite theme songs ever. I'm excited to re-listen to it. Like, wow, you nailed that.
Apparently, I'm not ready to go deep. Trying to go extra deep.
You can't go extra deep there. Man. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Kilted Balls podcast. I'm kind of jealous of your water. I didn't bring anything in to drink with me, and I don't have anything within reach today. So that's sad.
Man. That's actually tea.
Oh, tea sounds great. I almost made myself some warm tea. My house is a little chilly right now. I don't know. It's like 62 degrees or so. And
sounds terrible.
So I was like sitting here getting ready to record, and I was like, I'm a little chilled. I'm a little chilly. Maybe some tea would be good. Some warm tea.
Mm-hmm.
Really terrible. I think it feels
at
nice.
least one of these every day of warm tea.
Nice.
So,
I actually think it feels good in my house at 63.
You probably do.
I do. When it's summer and you have to like turn the air on to like 78 or 77, I'm like, this is like so hot. 63 though? Well, that's like, we're doing good. We're doing good. Yup. I mean, sometimes I'm like, all right, it's a little chilly and I'll start a fire or something. But in general, like right now, I'm like, oh man, my bed's going to feel so good. I'm going to turn on the heat. It's going to be nice. So those are all good things. Mm-hmm. See, that's why I don't have to do ice baths, because my house is an ice bath.
That's true.
Oh, did you notice what I did? Like that. Did you notice?
I did. You cleaned it up nicely. So I trimmed mine a little bit. It might take me next year. I might get mine as thick as yours, but right now I'm going for it.
Yeah, it was getting really bushy here, and some people liked it, some people didn't, and like a multitude of people were like, "You need to grow like big like braids, like Viking braids and stuff." And I was like sitting there, and Amy was like, "Yeah, I'm not really liking it," and I'm like, "Oh, do you want me to cut it?" She's like, "No." Like, maybe trim it up or maybe this and that. And I'm like, listen, I seriously don't care. Like, it's only there because I was lazy on the first day of school. There's literally no other reason. It's not because like, in my brain, my image of myself doesn't have facial hair. So I'm like, it's literally not a thing for me. And she's like, no, I think, whatever. And so then she was like gone. And I'm like, well, I'll start with this. Like, I started by trimming it. And I'm like, yeah, I still don't like how it looks trimmed. So then I'm like, I'm going to go goatee like I used to have and see how that fits my face. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, this isn't bad. It kind of makes me look not as fat here because it covers up any double chins. Yeah. And I go,
covers up all your extra chins. That's nice.
All right. Makes me look a little bit different. So yeah, trimmed it up. Not the hair though. And my daughter braided part of the back of my hair.
I was going to say, is the braid still in? It was awesome.
No. She like just came behind me and was like, do, and it was like a long braid. And you saw a picture because I think one of our other buddies took a picture of it. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, it looked really cool. She should have done all the way down. You could have kept it in.
Oh my gosh, like all the way. Yeah, right. It's easily long enough to do cornrows right now, right? Like, I am turning into a silver fox.
Yeah.
I mean, I still think of myself as a wolf, but I guess now I'm actually a gray wolf. So, a true gray wolf than I was. So that happens. You turn into gray wolves or old dragons, one of the two. Two. So, yep. Okay, so right before we got on, Kilted was having trouble with his website, and I said, have you tried any of the AI? And you said you had not. And so the question is, maybe you should try it. And so we thought we would do it on air. We would ask ChatGPT how to fix his error. So why don't you describe the error for our listeners, and then we'll rock it out.
So on my Shopify store for where I have my sheets, and I don't even know when it started happening. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. A customer pointed it out that the checkout button wasn't working, and so I don't go on there probably as much as I really should.
Mm-hmm.
But I went and looked at it, and the checkout button was not working. So it had other buttons there where you could check out through. And what had happened was that I do know that Shopify made it to where, like, I don't get my PayPal anymore. They process all my PayPal stuff. So there must have been some sort of update.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so it's probably around that same time when it happened, but that was just the first customer that pointed it out. Anyway, so I've been going back and forth. Like, if I have the checkout button there, then it'll have another button for checkout for Shopify Pay, checkout for PayPal, or checkout for Google Pay. And so I had it like that, but then I had customers complaining that the checkout button didn't work. And I was like, oh, you just go to the other ones. Like, acted like it wasn't a button, but they weren't doing it. So I had too many complaints. So today I went on, and if I take away the checkout button, all those buttons go away.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. It's just one little thing I click. It says checkout button. There's nothing I can do to it. There's nothing I can change on it. So I had put Shopify Pay on it. There's a Shopify Pay button because that's an app. So I just did that, and I was like, okay, whatever. People could just do it like this, and if anyone asks, I mean, and I researched it. It is safer for the customer, and it's more encrypted. It's like a 2FA for them. There's no passwords, but they've got to check their email or they have to check their phone.
Sure.
So a customer today is like, oh, that button's not working. So I couldn't replicate it on my phone. I came home, I couldn't replicate it, but this customer's having a problem, so I'm trying to figure it out. But ultimately, I would rather have the other checkout button work. I wondered if it's because I used to have like an upsell app.
Yeah.
Old upsell, but I don't have it anymore. So I wondered if with the new Shopify thing and with taking off the bold upsell, if that happened. And there was like a new update on my theme as well.
Okay.
So we are going to now. I can do I share my screen or should I just type it in?
You can do either one. So is your goal here to get that button to go away?
I would rather either have just that button go away and keep the other three, or have that button go to like a checkout page. Like where it comes up, they can fill out all their stuff. That's what they want to do, rather than using Shopify. Although ultimately, if they're doing any shopping online, having the Shopify account would be better.
Okay.
So I think first I'm gonna put in that my Shopify is not working. So share my screen. Let's see which one we're gonna share.
Yeah. Share it and see if I have to okay it.
Select something to stream and have your friends grab a seat.
Okay, I like it already. But
nothing's happening.
Nothing's happening yet? Nothing is on my screen, no.
I'm getting blue dots that are going around. Okay, so let me cancel that. Let me try it again. Share your screen. Wait, what's over here? Pop out, full screen. Share your screen. Okay, folks.
Guess we're not going to share screens.
Okay, we're not going to share screens. So I have my other computer over here. So Shopify theme Dawn. So that's the name of the theme that I have. Checkout button not working.
Cool.
Would you add anything else in your AI? And this is awesome because we've been talking about AI a lot.
Yeah.
You have said like to go to AI for things. So Shopify theme Dawn checkout button not working.
Say how do start with how do I fix?
Oh, okay.
Like you got to ask it a question probably, right? Like otherwise, you might just say, okay.
If the checkout button on your Shopify theme Dawn isn't working, it could be due to several issues, including theme setting, JavaScript conflicts, or app interference. Here's some steps you can take. Clear the cache. But that wouldn't be for other customers.
Just keep reading. Let's see what else it says.
Disable unnecessary apps. I've done that. Deploy disable. Check for JavaScript errors. Go to the console. Check the checkout button. See, I don't check out check theme customization. If you've added custom code, I haven't done that. I've been very careful not to do that. Although I was trying that today to just try to change it.
Yeah.
Update or reinstall the theme. I did that today. Check Shopify's cart setting. Go to setting carts. I've done that. Settings payments. Maybe I should look at that. And then use Shopify troubleshooter.
And you've done Shopify troubleshooter.
I've done the Shopify troubleshooter. So
are you able to do any editing of your actual HTML, like if you wanted to?
If I wanted to, I could.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, there's a spot to do that. That's where I was just in. I went through almost every page that had to do with a cart, and I did the Control F for anything that said checkout. And if it said checkout and it looked like it was the button, I tried to say below so I could. So if the button said checkout below, then no one's going to try to click on that.
Sure.
They're going to do one of the other buttons.
Yes.
But yes, that did not happen. So the one said go to.
I can tell you where you can edit that if you can edit the HTML.
I know how to edit that, but do you know where it would be?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, here, let's do this live. If we're doing this.
Ooh, we're putting ball to the test. Putting ball to the test right away.
Page. Wait, where is it? I was here earlier. Oh, I have to go to this spot. Yeah, because my setting was there was like a new version even of my edit code or edit default theme content.
We want to edit code.
Okay, that's where I was earlier. Okay, where should I go?
Go to line like 1630.
Okay, there's only 200 lines.
Then you are not editing code. Maybe you are.
Yeah, there's like a whole bunch of different spots to go. Like there's a templates cart.json. Like there's a whole list of things here.
Where I'm probably looking at.
Where do you want me to go?
Where I'm probably looking at everything. So you can either go to cart. What things say cart? Anything?
Yeah, there's a cart JSN. There's a bunch of things that
Is there a cart CTAS?
Cart CTAS. Oh, here, I'll look right here. Cart icon live notification.
Look at you, listeners. You get to see us troubleshooting the website live. Don't know if that's exciting for you. Probably horrible for people who are just listening, I guess.
There's a cart CSS. Component cart notification, component cart items, componont cart drawer, cart.js, cart notification.js, cart drawer.js. I don't see it. Or CTS.
CTAS.
CTAS. Okay. I'm not showing anything come up that says CTAS. Like when I did a search for it.
Yeah. Man. In our actual Discord, I'm going to put what I think you should be looking for. Okay?
Okay. So if this is checkout button, cart dynamic checkout buttons, additional checkout buttons. See, I didn't see anything like that earlier.
So this is hidden somewhere in your code. And my guess is if all you want to do is change what it says, that you would change like the name from checkout to don't check out here, check out below. Right?
Yeah. That's interesting. I'll have to look at that. Later.
All right. So no success yet, but now we've given Kilted a spot to hunt. We got it. Giving you a spot to hunt, right?
Yeah, I'll have to try to find that. But yeah, it's been exciting.
Yeah, it'd be more exciting if you had it fixed, right?
So on more website news, so the past few months, my website has not been doing very well, like at all. So it's historically not well during those months, but it's been like really bad. I've been like dipping into like even some of my crypto and stuff, which is not very exciting.
No.
So I'm actually looking, probably gonna get some work, especially over the holidays or something, or do something like that. So you've heard it here first, people. I've only talked to Gina about it, like,
Woo!
because it's not worth it for me to sell the crypto that I didn't sell when it was high.
Right.
So if I'm selling it now, like it's very bad because then I don't have anything for the future.
Well,
And
Bitcoin's pretty nice right now. It like hit 80.
Bitcoin is no, it hit 90 earlier.
Oh yeah, it did. It touched 90, didn't it? Or came close?
Yeah, I got a notification that it hit 90.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty. I mean, that's super awesome. And we have that season coming up. But even, I'm telling everybody. Even Gina and I have been talking about it. Like, if you put anything in, like, keep it for a year, and then wherever it's at, just sell it. Because the last bull run, I didn't do that. Some other friends didn't do that. And so we are waiting for more. We are waiting for different times. But if you just look at the timing, even if it's just a year, even if it only goes up 10% from here, you're not going to make 10% anyplace else.
You're probably right. Probably hard.
But my 36-step challenge, when I had to move it all off of KuCoin, I just put it into Solana, which I think we talked about a few episodes back.
Yeah.
I moved 666 over. That's what was in my KuCoin account. That's probably why I had to empty it.
Probably why.
And it's over 1,000 right now. So that's not bad for a couple months.
No, that is like fantastic. And you are so much more patient. I've been doing day trading, as you know, and like right now I'm too busy, so I don't even look at it. But like there was one just the other day that I was like, it was way down, one of my stocks. And so as soon as it hit like 1 or 2%, which was my goal, I'm like, I'm out. I'm out. I've been grumpy at this because I'm trying to day trade, not week trade. And that son of a gun in the next week went up like, I don't know, 30%. And I was like, if I was patient, it would have gone up 30%. But that's not the name of the game I'm playing right now.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm okay with it because that's not the game I'm playing.
Yeah. Yeah, because over the holidays, my sales definitely pick up. But even so far this month, they haven't picked up as much as I would expect. So I'm just like, uh-oh. So, I'm just kind of, I had toyed with the idea just for fun and filling up some time, but now it's just like.
Have you thought about putting your sheets? I don't know the process. So listeners, maybe or maybe this is a good time for you to hear us explore this, because I'm sure Kilted has. But what keeps you from putting your sheets on Amazon?
When I had them on Amazon before, like I hardly made any sales. I think it's because people don't necessarily go to Amazon to get the best thing. Like, you might look at something and see that it has a really good rating and pay more for it, but my sheets would be twice as much in what would look like similar sheets, but they're not. Like when you because it's not going to be listed correctly. It's not going to say what the GSM is. It's not going to say going to show like the elastic. Some of the things that I know that my sheets are a lot better than what you look on there, and you can see sheets for $20.
Right. So people aren't going to pay $50 if they can get 2 sheets for $20.
Yeah. When I'm at a show, that's different, because if people, when we're, because we had them on there for a while when it was at shows, but I was hardly making any sales.
Yeah.
Make more sales. I mean, I get a few sales on eBay. I was going to revamp that a little bit here and there, and then put them back on. I was going to put them back on Amazon again, just because, I got a few sales here and there, and it's more like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like if people see you on Amazon, they think you're legit.
Yes.
Like if it's a new person, because even still nowadays, most of my sales are repeat customers.
Yeah.
I get some new people that wander in, but like if they see it on Amazon, like, oh, okay, they're not a fly by night. Even and I try to put on the website like they're shipped from here. I'm here in North Carolina. We're not in they're not coming directly from the factory where you have to wait 2 months or whatever.
Right.
So, this isn't Temu.
Nope, it's not Temu. Well, it doesn't cost you anything to put it on Amazon, right?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
So you might as well have them there in case you're right. It probably does legitimize you. And like, that's like my number one spot to go. Like if I'm looking for anything, even if I'm at a store, like at Menards, I'll be like, okay, I'm checking Amazon real quick.
Yep. Well, I caught a tea with Gary Vee this last week, and he was doing all of his stuff on Whatnot now, and I hadn't seen it before, and it's an online social spot where people sell things, and I'm like, I might need to just start going on, like pick a time and say, hey, I'm going on. It's almost like your own home shopping network channel.
Yeah.
Is what the Whatnot app is, and I put a Facebook out. And I had no customers had heard of it that replied back at least. So, maybe something to try. And again, it's just another thing because Gary's like, what good is it if you're on Google in a few years when people aren't going to Google to search for shopping stuff?
Right.
They're going to here, they're going to there, and he tends to have his finger on a pulse of upcoming.
Oh no, Kilted froze. And he froze in a beautiful way. Oh my, poor Kilted. He is having technological troubles today with his website, and now he's frozen during our pod. So that's sad. Well, we'll probably have to give you more updates from Kilted's oh, there he is.
There
He's back.
You were so patient. You were just sitting there.
I was talking to our listeners the entire time.
Awesome. So, thank you.
I was like, oh, Kilted decided to leave mid-sentence. So,
but yeah, I'll keep everyone updated, especially if I start doing stuff like that.
Yeah, let us know. That what's not stuff sounds good. So what's the picture behind you? Is that a faucet? Is it like a stock picture? Is it like a real one? Yeah, that one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Gina found some frames, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And stuck them there. So yeah.
So it's a stock picture, not like a real picture. All right.
Not real.
I mean, although it's real.
The scenery behind me may be changing. I'm really leaning towards making some big changes. So that'll be exciting for our listeners out there.
Oh my gosh, yes. Right now it's been kind of the same a lot. And so it's probably about time to mix it up. Though I do love the plants and stuff. I think they're great. You just reminded me that I got to water my plants. I haven't watered them in a while, so that's kind of important. Yeah. So.
Oh, that was one fun thing I did. So my plants that I had outside were not very successful for this summer. I kept forgetting to water them. And so I moved them all inside because I found some. Have you ever been to a bin store? Have we talked about this before?
I've been to some bin stores, yeah.
Okay. So I found
We have not talked about it, but yes, I have been.
I found some grow lights at a bin store for $2.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to bring all my plants in that didn't grow very well over the summer and see how they do over the winter, put some grow lights on them. So I have my basil and some jalapeno peppers inside here.
Nice.
And I think a squash. But yeah, so it's just like rather than just letting them die sitting outside, like I'll bring them inside.
Oh no.
And I've been watering them. Yeah, I came back.
You came back. You came back. You've been watering them. Nice.
Yep.
Oh, man. So, I had things I wanted to talk about, and I think I forgot almost all of them. With our shopping Bitcoin gibberish. So, we're starting to get into my busy season. So, listeners, if you've been with us for a while, you know that November cues the start of my busy season. And I'm kicking off my busy season with chaperoning a trip to Indy. I'm going to Lucas Oil, and so that'll be fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's that for? Can you talk about it?
Yeah, it's Marching Band Nationals.
Nice.
And they asked me a couple months ago, they're like, hey, would you like chaperone? And I'm like, what do you like really want me to do? And they're like, what we really want you to do is drive a vehicle so that, like, if we need subs, you can go get subs. If there's an emergency, you can take someone to, like, the hospital or transport people, or if someone has gluten allergies, go get them non-gluten food or whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm down. I'm down for that.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
And I mean, Lucas Oil, you can easily walk to White Castle from there, so
You
that's
can walk.
perfect.
I'm super excited. I'm like, I love Indy. Let me rephrase that.
I do
I
too.
love visiting Indy. I don't think I'd want to live in Indy, but I love to visit Indy, and so I'm like, yeah, this will be a good time. And it's like 3 or 4 days, so I'm gonna miss a little bit of my practices, but I'm like,
Okay.
this will still be good. This will still be good, and it'll be fun, and it'll be nice. So, but yeah, it also
That's
makes me
awesome.
tired. I'm yawning. Oh,
Uh-oh.
oh man, yeah. We're
Not
yesterday.
exciting enough for you.
No, yesterday I got like 8 hours of actual sleep, not like from when I went to bed at night. Like
Wow.
my watch was like, oh, you slept for like 8 hours 20 minutes, because I got home and it was like Cal's bedtime, and I was like, all right, like AIM had meetings, so I'm like, let's go to bed. And so he's like, okay, and we went up there and we read books, and then he's like, let's hide from mom, and I'm like, sure, let's hide. And he
That
passed
is
out and I
awesome.
passed out, and I woke up, I was like, man, that was wonderful.
Hmm.
But now I'm tired again, so we'll see. We'll see.
That was me today at jiu-jitsu. I try to watch and all that, and we're sitting there, and it gets the afternoon sun and the light, so where the parents sit, they're like these little chairs.
Do a lot
And
of
I was
parents come and watch?
Yeah, I mean, they don't really just drop their kids off. We're just sitting there. So we sit through two classes because Morgie goes first and then Oliver goes. So I was watching some YouTube shorts, and then I just was like, nope. I closed my eyes. I guess I was snoring and stuff.
Nice, nice.
So I feel great right now.
That's funny. So I have been to a few different things. Some where they like let you watch stuff.
Hmm.
Some where like they probably would let you, but it's like not convenient. And then other
Yeah.
places where it's like, nope. Like,
Yeah.
you go over there. You don't watch your kids.
That would be awesome.
I
But
know.
Gina got some great videos today, so it's not pretty awesome.
Like,
Morgie's learning like this for whatever reason this weekend he just turned it on.
mhm,
He turned on the and so yeah, he's really excited about throwing people and stuff.
nice.
Like throwing them down, so
See, it's a bit of
cool.
a culture shock for people when they get to my level. Because at my level, for sure, there's no parent watching, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's a huge faux pas. You don't do it. I've kicked parents out. Like, it's like, whoa, what are you
Hmm.
doing? And they're like, oh, I want to watch. Nope, nope, you don't get to watch. Like,
Yeah.
that's not our thing. Like, go watch go watch 8-year-olds. Don't come into our
Yeah.
room and watch. Right? Like, it's
Yeah.
just like a parent probably doesn't go to like varsity football practices, or
Hmm.
varsity track practice. But it's
Some parents used to come to track practices here and there.
yeah, well, you can't really keep them out of a track practice if you're going for a 5
Yeah.
mile run, but
Yeah.
yeah, when you're like a volleyball thing, like, could you imagine people going, or basketball, going to watch volleyball or basketball practices? Like, that
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
happen,
Same idea.
right?
Hmm.
You're just like, nah, nah. But you'll see it in swim, because they just go sit in the stands. They're not actually watching. They're just like you
Yeah.
are, like, where am I going to go? I may as
Yeah.
well sit here. So,
Yeah, during the week it's a half-hour class then a 45-minute class. So like we're gonna drive around and just like go shopping. Like
right. You got to sit somewhere. So, better to
yeah,
just sit there.
and the seats are set up for the adults to sit there.
Yeah. When one of my girls used to play volleyball, like, they had a room where you could sit. Like, you couldn't watch you could watch the practices, but it'd be weird. You'd be standing like on the side of a gym, and most people
Yeah,
just sat in the little room away from the practices, and
yeah.
I'm like, that's fine.
It's like the cell phone lot at the airport.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
just chilling.
just chilling and hanging out. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. Like, when do you stop like watching them, and when do you have an effect and don't have an effect on your kiddos, right?
Yeah.
Like, in my
Well,
sport, we can't have them there because they affect the kids too much. And we're like,
yeah.
you're done. And that happens with like dance and cheerleading. Like, hey, mom and dad, you're a detriment to what we're trying to do. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's sometimes Morgie, he like if he doesn't sleep well or stuff, he just acts a little ornery. And we've done it before where it's like, okay, if you're not going to listen, we're leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And we've left before, and then he'll start listening, and so the next time he listens the whole time.
Oh, like he's not listening to the people, and so you're like, peace out.
Yeah, he's not listening to the coach. Yeah, he'll like run over to Gina and just like like mess around, or like if his dad is there, he'll run over to his dad.
Yeah.
Just like coach is like, okay, you guys need to leave.
Oh, the coach
like,
tells
okay.
you? Oh, I thought you guys were
Yeah.
just like, oh, it's time for us to go.
Well, we talked to the coach about it, and it was one of the ideas. Like, okay, like sometimes it's just like, okay, if you don't straighten up, we're gonna go. But the coach has said, okay, you guys go, which is great because then he listens. I mean, we pay way too much money for him to go there and dick around.
Right. Like, yeah, and it's great that the coach is comfortable enough and good enough to be like, see ya.
The coach is amazing.
Yeah.
He's a great guy and super awesome.
And understands what they need and what they don't need. So that's super awesome. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're enjoying it. Yeah. Cal went to wrestling practice today. It was good, and people were like, ooh, is he going to start like doing like little kid stuff and being competitive? I'm like, no. I'm like, probably not. And they're like, oh, and I'm like, he's in the room for like today. He got there around 3:30, was there until 5 something. I'm like, he's already getting an hour and a half, 2 hours a day, which is more than a little kid should be in a practice.
Yeah.
Already. And I go, and he's doing that 5 days a week when most kids do like 2 days a week. I'm like, so he's already going to be getting way, way more than like a little kid's practice. And that would just, like, it's already overwhelming. Like, that's even more overwhelming. And I don't believe in kids being competitive in this stuff yet. Like, I've always been a big, I wouldn't, like an anti-proponent.
Yeah.
Like I tell people often, I'm like, you get a good 10 years out of a kid. So you get a good 10 years. You
start them too early.
So if you start them when they're 5, your good 10 years is ending when they're 15.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so you need to chill, because if you want them to be like a senior, like start them when they're like 8. You don't get that much time. So if you're going to make a kid be hardcore competitive, because there is no not hardcore competitive in wrestling, right? Like in soccer, you can have little kids running around and they're all cute, like t-ball, woo, it's fun. But in wrestling, if you're like woo, you get bloody and it hurts and you don't like it. Like there is no not ultra competitive.
Yeah, I mean, we talked to Oliver about that with his jiu-jitsu. Like he had fun, he had a great time, but it was a do you want to do this for fun, or do you want to do this and be serious about it? And it was totally like it's up to you, and you get to pick. And even the coach had that talk with them, like, what do you want out of this?
Right.
It's helping his focus. Like he's actually gained a lot of weight. He's getting a lot of muscle. So
heck yeah,
I'm excited for him.
No, it's like super great.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have to decide, like, eventually, like if he wants to be competitive, like, does he want to be really competitive, or does he just want to have a good time? Which, I'm always like, and I tell kiddos this all the time, right? Because I work with a lot of kids. Like, I'm like, you need to, like, 90% of the time, I'm like, you need to chill. Right? Yeah. Like, when you become ultra competitive, it's not fun anymore. That's work.
He had that talk with them. Like, it's a whole different game.
And so you should enjoy the enjoyable part until you have to do the other, right? And I was that way, right? Like, I was ultra competitive in wrestling, but then in the spring, during track season, I did wrestling for fun. And I was serious about, and my other wrestling I was just there to have a good time. I was there to play, and I always told people, I go, that's when you learn to enjoy it. And then during the competitive season, that's not fun. It's not supposed to be fun. It's competitive, right?
Yeah, if you're gonna be good, it's not fun.
You've got to hurt. You've got to do so much work. The fun is in the winning, right? Like it's the reward is what's fun.
Yeah.
And
well, that's even like with Ultimate. Like we hardly ever ran drills because the drills weren't fun, and most everyone there just wanted to play.
Yes.
And then after we left, and all the kids that we brought in, they decided they wanted to be serious, and they were running serious drills at practice and practicing those things, and then they traveled further than we ever did.
Yeah, they got super good because weird. That's what gets you good, right? It's not.
Yeah.
You've got to practice, and that's not fun. Like I tell. We got one of my teams once for running got interviewed by the news, and they're like, they asked the kiddos, they're like, "What do you like about running?" And they're like, "Nothing." They're like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "You don't run because you enjoy running." They're like, "You run for what you get out of running. Like the benefits are worth the pain." Right? I always tell kids, I go, the prize is worth the pain. You put yourself through the pain because the prize is worth. They're like, we love feeling like we're in shape. We love feeling like we can run 5, 10, 15 miles. We love them. We're faster than everybody else. Like, we love those feelings.
Yeah.
There's nothing fun about going out and doing 800 repeats. They're like, it's horrible every single time. Like, like it always sucks. So, you know.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And that's like a thing. Which, by the way, listeners, that's kind of honestly how life is a lot. As Gary Vee always says, you got to eat crap for a while. Like, if you want to get really good at something, like you've got to do the tedious stuff. You know, I talk to people about that all the time. Do the tedious stuff. Do it repetitively. Get good at it. Then you'll find the other stuff is super easy and it'll make you super successful.
Yeah. Well, that was like when I first started doing events. Luckily, my boss just really, really liked me, but it was I had to learn how to do it. I had to learn to interact with the customer, how to create a crowd, all that stuff. It doesn't come naturally. And luckily, I made it through, and then one day it just clicked, and that was it.
Yes. And then you became really successful at that. But you could have left at any time before that and not been.
Yeah.
And I often wonder, like, you see gamblers who are like, ooh, the next time I'll get it. The next time I'll get it. And I always wonder, like, if people did that in their actual real lives, how much farther they would be. Like, oh, shoot, you know what? I'm going to go again. Because the next time I'll be able to do it. Shoot, missed again. All right, I'm going to go again. The next time I'll be able to do it. Because eventually you will. You'll be able to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, and it'll be amazing.
You're picking up those little things that you're not getting.
Yes, yes. Just do the thing over and over.
Do the thing.
Do the thing. Do the thing, and you'll get better. And eventually, it'll be good, and then you can enjoy the benefits of it. Right? Then you can enjoy it. I hope for all of your sakes that you get to enjoy it. So
exactly.
Yep.
That's what.
We didn't talk about the election at all. Last episode was our election. Did we want to do a rundown, or are we?
We could. I heard. Actually, you go ahead first. I gotta check this quote. I was gonna do a short on it. I didn't have a chance today because I took a nap during thing. But go ahead. You can go first.
Well, you know, I met with our friend this weekend who was running for a seat and didn't win. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that was hard, but I think it was more hard. Like, she is passionate blue, right? Like, really far left, in my opinion. And so I think the overall really, really hurt her. And so I think she's still trying to come to terms with that. So it's kind of interesting. And, you know, and she's like, it's just hard seeing that happen. And I'm like, you get these comments, and I get it, right? They're like, it just hurts like that half of the population is that dumb, or half of the population is this bad, or half the population is this. And I'm like, listen, you've got to understand, and you've heard me say this before. And listeners, honestly, if you agree, yay. If you don't agree, yay. Like, I don't care. Like, it's my feels. But I honestly feel that our society as a whole, not us as individuals, but I often say people are dumb. Individuals are smart. And sometimes dumb, but people are always dumb. And I'm like, and not only are they always dumb, but there are institutions and structures that are designed certain ways. And because they're designed certain ways, they have a really, really powerful effect. And one of the ones that I talk about a lot in my real life is like, you have institutional sexism and you have institutional racism. And that doesn't mean, I remember I had a guy once who I was working with, and they're like, I am not sexist. I'm like, oh my gosh, you are not sexist at all. Not even like a little bit. Like, your wife was literally an assassin. Like, you understand. And he's like, then what are you talking about? I'm like, well, do you have a role in this institution? Yes. I go, the institution is sexist. The institution is sexist. And he's like, but you just said I'm not. I go, you are not. The institution is. And like, they couldn't come to grips with that. So listeners, if you're like, wait, I don't get it. Like, that's the point, is it's really hard to like grasp and understand. But if your institution is designed a certain way, it doesn't matter whether you're sexist or not. You're going to automatically behave as the institution wants. It would take literal effort and work to not do what the institution wants. Right? Because the institution. So let me give you a great example. I worked with a school once, and I was like, oh, you've got like a real like sexism problem here. And they're like, listen, we're not sexist. Most of our administrators are female. I'm like, I know, it's kind of sad. And they're like, but you're saying we're sexist. I'm like, here, let me lay it out for you super simple. And they're like, okay. I go, how many males have you disciplined in the last 10 years? Last 20 years? How many? And they're like, well, we don't know it. I'm like, I had to do the research. You want to know how many? They're like, how many? I go, this many.
Oh.
This many males you have disciplined. I go, you're disciplining 5 to 10 people a year, and never have you ever disciplined a male. And I'm like, and are you thinking that the males aren't getting in trouble? They're like, well, no, for sure they are. They're like, this person got in trouble, this person got in trouble, this person got in trouble, this person got in trouble. I'm like, for sure. And they're like, then what are you talking about? I go, show me the record of them getting in trouble.
Yeah.
I go, there's none. I go, whenever those people got in trouble, you were like, you've got to do better next time. I go, and whenever one of your females got in trouble, you said, here's a written reprimand, you need to get better. I'm like, you literally took records of the females and disciplined them. You never did that with the guys. And it was female people doing it. I'm like, and they're like, why is it happening? I'm like, because it's institutional. You aren't doing it. The institution is doing it, and you don't realize you're doing it.
Yeah.
And that's like, whether you like to admit it, my friends, or not, America was literally designed under that structure, right? Women couldn't vote. Women were considered property. The U.S. was built on that precept. And because of that, the institution still does that. So having a female person win a big election like that, that's really, really, really hard to do, right?
Especially when a lot of places, like, you can see that the top line there was no vote on the top line, but other votes, like in North Carolina. In North Carolina, if everyone who voted for the new Democratic governor would have voted for Harris, she would have won by 300,000 votes.
Well, let me ask you this. Trump is now president twice.
Mm-hmm.
Who did he beat the first time?
Hillary.
And when it was a male, he lost.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's hard for people to put a female. It's hard for them to do that, right? In Michigan, we have a female governor.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people say that she'll be up in 4 years, but who knows?
There were 2 females running.
No, that she'll be.
No, but what
be up for the presidency.
No, but what I'm
years.
saying is, they weren't given a choice of not having a female. It was 2 females, and she won the time before that. But it's because the guy they put in was so bad. Like, it was so bad, she was gonna win, right? And we're a progressive state. We are often more progressive than, say, South Carolina, right?
Yeah.
But even there, they still lean the opposite way. And people don't recognize that. And you could throw the race card in too, but the point is that there's institutional things, and you can always tell, right? Like I have kiddos who are over all the time who I talk to, and they'll talk, and I'll be like, okay, so you voted for, say, Trump. What was the deal? Why'd you vote for Trump? And they're like, oh, yeah, there was just something about Harris that I didn't like. We're big believers here. We talk about it a lot, of voting your gut and believing your gut. Their gut was like, don't vote for Harris. But if you dig deep, their reasons weren't real reasons, right?
Yeah.
They're reasons that they're using to justify it. Like your friend, you had a friend who was like, yeah, I'm going to vote for Harris because I think she's really bad for immigration. Or really good for immigration. And I want no immigrants. Right? But then you start...
No, he said he wanted to vote for Trump because she was bad on immigration.
That's what I'm saying. Okay. However I'm saying it. Okay. She was bad on immigration. And then you're like, okay, well, so like, what makes you think that? Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, that's
not the facts.
They're like, well, that's just how I feel. That's how I feel. Okay, so again, you're going with your feelings, not with anything else, right? Mm-hmm. Which is why, like, sometimes I'm like, okay, like if you have a hard and fast line, I buy that a lot better, right? I had people who were like, the first time Trump won, I don't know where they were this time, I didn't ask, but the first time Trump won, they said, I'm voting for him because I want the Supreme Court picks to be conservatives. So I'm voting for Trump because there's going to be he'll make conservative picks. If I vote for anybody else, it won't be conservative. Those Supreme Court picks have to be conservative. I'm like, that's legitimate. That's a legitimate argument. While I don't agree that I want the Supreme Court conservative, you are totally within the realms to be like, yeah, I want a conservative Supreme Court. But it wasn't because, it wasn't because they thought Trump was a good person. It wasn't because they thought he was a role model. They were literally doing it. The ends justified the means. Mm-hmm. Right? So.
Well, it's funny. Even today, like something I was listening to was talking about, like it's a person who looks at soul contracts and things like that. Like he's always been someone who brings chaos, and he's a bringer of chaos, and that's what he does. That's what he did last time, and against the establishment. Hopefully, that's something that happens, but hopefully, it's something that benefits everybody. It's not gonna hurt me. It's not gonna hurt you. We're older white men. It's truth to be said, like. We're not in any danger of anything changing. Right. And a friend today I was talking to, he was upset at first, and he's like, I don't understand. He's like, I'm fighting for these people, and whatever the number was, I forget the number of Dems that stayed at home and didn't go out to vote. He's like, I'm fighting for all these people. He's like, if they want to have a world of winners and losers, he's like, I'm a winner. I'm fine with that. He's just disheartened that so many people stayed at home.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's been a Democrat for a long, long time. I mean,
Well,
even like long before I ever even considered it.
and that chaos part is big. You'll see this coming out if it hasn't already. It came out last time. There are people, our buddy, who sometimes is a listener, used to be this way. He is no longer this way, which makes me giggle. People change. We've talked about that. But there are people who are anti-establishment. They're like, we don't like the status quo. And they're like, I'm voting for Trump because he is against the status quo. I'm voting for him because he isn't like all the others. And again, that's real. Like, that's real.
Legitimate.
You're saying you want more chaos, and you picked the entity that represents chaos. That I'm like, yeah. That I'm like, okay, that makes sense. When you're like, ooh, I'm voting for Trump because his policies were way more defined than Harris's policies. Okay, you're just being dumb. That's just a talking point. Both of their policies were easily at the same level of descriptor. And even like when you talk to people, and our buddy Jason, I think, summed this up for us really, really well. Like, do you like Trump for his policies? Yes. So you like the idea of tariffs. I don't think Trump's really going to do terrorism. Oh, you like Trump because he's going to put an end to all the wars. Yes. How? By keeping everybody at home. Right? Like, you're saying it's not that he won't do the actual policy that he's saying he will do. Right? You're saying, I'm voting for Trump because he's anti-abortion. Trump has literally said, I'm against a national ban on abortion. So what people think his policies are is literally they will turn the other way and say it's not his policy. Right? And I'm not arguing. You can do the same thing with Harris. I'm saying, you saying, ooh, I'm with their policy is kind of like BS. Right?
Yeah.
You're more valid when you say, I don't like her, I don't like him. Right? And that's where I am, right? Like, people have said, why don't you support Trump? I'm like, I literally don't like Trump. Like, that's just the thing. What would make you like him? Probably nothing, right? Like, it's really hard for me to change my views of who I like and who I don't like. Like, I don't hate people. Like, that's one of our big rules. But I'm not going to hang out with the guy.
Since you brought it up, and I can't find the exact quote. I was just looking real fast, but it was a summit I was listening to yesterday for 11/11, and they were talking a little bit of the election came up with that, and like moving forward, and especially a community of people who consider themselves spiritual and loving, like you have to do that. And they made a quote. I've seen pieces and parts. I didn't find the exact quote, but I guess Martin Luther King said something about, I don't have to like you, but I love everybody. And that's you have to love, and the love of everybody, and the moving forward, and the working together to make everything a better place is super important, even though you might not like somebody, and you don't have to like everybody.
You don't
the Bible
have to like
say that.
No, you don't have to like everybody. Right? The Bible actually says, like, forgive your enemies. Like, it's saying, we know you got enemies. We know you got them. We know there's people you don't like. You've still got to be nice to them. You've still got to be nice.
That was early in my journey. I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but early in my spiritual journey, that was one thing that came up that was very profound to me. So people that I didn't like when I would pray or give thanks, I would want to bless them as well. And this was high school. Yeah. That I learned that. So it was very profound as far as my journey. I think that's super awesome. And if you haven't done it, people, hopefully a lot of our listeners, or if you're new, like, welcome, we love you. And if you're like to live in an attitude of gratitude and to constantly give thanks or prayer, or however you want to say it or do it. But when you start putting those blessings on people who you don't necessarily like, it changes a lot. It changes a lot of your perspective too.
Yeah, good message. I agree. People, like, give those, we've talked about this a lot, give those positive vibes out. They only multiply, right? Feeling grumpy all the time just eats you. Right?
Yep.
Just eats you up. So Nope, I am with you. I think that's good. I think that's a great spot to end. We've almost gone 55 minutes. Way over what we're supposed to go.
Way too much fun.
Way too much fun. So if you made it through, listeners, thank you so much. We love you all. We're so glad you're with us. Send out those positive vibes to everybody. And this is Ballbuster signing off.
Kilted Dragon Jer, love you all.